Hey, what's up? This is the Nico de Gallo show. I don't have a cool intro. Maybe some of you can make me one. I'll give you a shout out. You might notice that this room is completely different from the room in my last video, and that's because I am making this week's video at Rice University. Thank you, Rice University. First of all, before I begin, I just want to thank everybody for being super supportive about this. I was kind of overwhelmed by how many of my family members reposted links to my channel, and then just how many people were like, this is totally something you should do, Nico. Just wanted to say really quick to all 2 of my fans, thank you so much. I've been actually getting a lot of really good suggestions, super fun stuff that I actually really want to talk about. So I'm gonna do all that, but before I start talking about linguistics, I should probably explain what linguistics is. So what is linguistics? Studying linguistics has nothing to do with learning how to speak languages. Linguistics is the study of language, not the study of languages. Meaning that linguistics is more like, how does language work? How do we use language? How did language develop? How does language influence the way we think? You could study linguistics, have a PhD in linguistics, not speak any other language besides one. Whenever I tell people, hey, I study linguistics, they're always like, oh, that's so cool. How many languages do you speak? To ask somebody, how many languages do you speak, is kind of like asking a zoologist, oh, you study animals, how many pets do you have? It's related. You may be a linguist who speaks multiple languages, but not necessarily so. Just because I'm Mexican doesn't mean I have to love tacos. I do love tacos though. And there's a few primary branches of linguistics that I'll give you examples of. The first is phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is the study of mouth sounds, and phonology is that study applied to a specific language. There's the phonology of English, the phonology of German, the phonology of Spanish, phonology of Japanese. So it's basically studying how phonetic concepts apply to a certain language. Okay, cool. And then there's morphology. Morphology is how do we make words. Syntax is how do we put sentences together and how do we order those words in those sentences to make sense to us. Because I can say, you are a monkey. But if I move the verb are to the beginning of the sentence, are you a monkey? You know, it's a question somehow. Same words, different order, suddenly totally different meaning to that statement. There's also semantics. All morphology is how do we put words together. Semantics is the study of the meaning of those words and how we understand them. And then there's historical linguistics. And historical linguistics is how do languages change over time? How is one language, like Italian, related to Spanish? What did a language that existed maybe 2,000-3,000 years ago sound like? Because it's not like we have any recordings of it. So that's more or less, in a really compact nutshell, what linguistics is. Besides that, there's also this concept of, oh, you're the linguist, so you should know the right way to say this. Not the case at all. If somebody asks me, hey, is the word supposed to be pronounced root or route? I would have to say, I can't tell you. In one place, they may have gotten the word root, which comes from French root, and then taken a sound, the R, which we didn't have. We don't have a h sound in English, so then we just put a r. That created the word root from root. And then you have some people who, over time, maybe their dialect of English extended the oo sound, split it up into 2 sounds and made out. And then you have route, and there's the development of one pronunciation of a word in one place and another pronunciation of another word in another place. And that's the difference between descriptivism and prescriptivism. A prescriptivist will say, you can't end a sentence in a preposition. A descriptivist will say, but everyone does. So that's how English is. Language is organic. Languages change. Languages evolve. When you say have to, you never say have to. The V becomes an F, to becomes t. You usually say, I have to go to the store. That's language. That's how language works. But to say, oh, people started saying it this way, that's just wrong. You can't. That would go against what it means for me to be a linguist. So the next time you say, oh, you have that southern drawl, like you must be uneducated, that's the development of new languages. That's how that happens. You have 2 populations of people who originally spoke the same language. They become different accents, they become different dialects, they get so different, they become different languages. So to recap, linguistics is the study of language. How language works, how it's put together. There is no correct or incorrect. If you say things differently, that is okay. In fact, if a linguist found out that you pronounce something differently, they're probably gonna find that fascinating. And so that's what linguistics is. Oh yeah, and the first word of the week. This came from my friend Elliot. The word of the week is effusive. Effusive comes from the root word fuse, which in Latin also meant to pour. The E at the beginning means out. If at the end of effusive makes a verb into an adjective. So therefore, if effuse means to pour out, something that's effusive is something that pours out a lot. In other words, the definition of effusive is actually... Shit, what was the definition of effusive? I forgot. One of the definitions of effusive is overflowing, and through metaphor came to mean overflowing with feelings of gratitude or appreciation or some kind of positive feeling. So everybody, that was the first episode of Nico de Gallo. Yay! I'm so proud of you. You're gonna make me blush. I did my best to explain everything. If there's still stuff you guys don't get, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below or message me directly. That's cool too. And if you like this, don't forget to subscribe. Eskenazi out.